Hello, hello. Welcome for another episode of Market Leader Live. Hey, it's your host with the most, your man, Darren M. Palmer, Chief Book Officer with Self-Published in 30 Days. Hey, I got a treat for you. I got my main man, Ed Rush, in the building today. Ed, say hello to the people if you don't mind.
Aaron, Chief Book Officer. It's good to see you, dude. It's been a couple months since I saw you in person in Houston there. So since then, we've, confined ourselves to quarters, but it's nice to see you virtually at least.
Awesome. Yes, sir, man. Definitely, man. I'm glad to be able to connect with you. Ed, I'm going to have him share a little bit about his event as well. But unfortunately, we had the COVID-19 situation happen and, kept us from being able to connect. But we are able to do it virtually like Ed shared earlier. Ed, if you don't mind, just share with the people a little bit about you for those who don't know. I'm going to have all the information in the show notes, but I like for people to hear from the source just a brief synopsis about who you are as a whole and some of the things that you're doing in consulting.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm a person that failed kindergarten. I don't like admitting that fact in public, but it's true. And the reason I tell that, I was a fighter pilot, so I flew F-18s in the Marine Corps, and some of the strategies that I teach, people go, oh, but Ed, you can do that, but I can't do that. I would tell you, everything that I teach, I'm the guy that failed kindergarten. So everything that I teach had to be simple for me to understand and implement it. But yeah, like I said, I went into the Marine Corps. I flew F-18s for 11 years. I was a leading instructor for the Marine Corps for several things. Went to Iraq several times, and then I got out and I started building and, in certain cases, selling businesses. I was very successful at creating some online companies fairly quickly, and then I really do a lot of speaking now. I work with business owners. I've had an opportunity to work with over 400 one-on-one coaching and consulting clients. That's in my office here. I've had a chance to work with literally hundreds of thousands of folks online and at my events. Written 5 books, all of them were best-selling books, and just really honored to be able to serve and help entrepreneurs. I just believe that we have a world that needs changing, and entrepreneurs like you, Darren, are the people that are going to be out there on the front lines changing it, so I figure we might as well get started now.
Awesome, Ed. And you know what? I couldn't wait to have you come on because I think, more than anybody, you are the go-to person when it comes to being a market leader and explaining it and breaking it down. I love it. I guess it's, what happened in elementary school or whatnot, but you have a great way of taking a complex situation for most, and you just allow for it to be smooth and easy or whatnot, far as how you transition people's mind, far as how to look at how they can be a market leader. So if you don't mind, if you just take us through, I'm used to what you do, but if you don't mind, give us a few steps that individuals who are listening to this, whether they're in insurance, whether there are speakers, what are some things that they can do to leverage who they are doing their normal day work and how they can become market leaders?
It's good. Thank you. And I'll just start with, as you're watching this, if you don't have a pen or something to write with, grab a pen and get ready to write something down, because I'm going to give you 3 main ways to really get yourself out into the world, to share your message, your story, your expertise, or to just get more sales and more revenue into your business. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs. Everyone that I work with tells me that they want 3 things. Number 1, they want a bigger income, greater income. Number 2, more impact. And number 3, a better lifestyle. In other words, they want to build their business around their life, they want to build their business around their life and not the other way around. And when I said number 1, number 2, number 3, that wasn't in order. That was just those 3. Sometimes people want to have a bigger impact than they do income, or a bigger income than they do lifestyle. But really, it's those 3 things. And what I'm going to share with you just quickly are what I consider the 3 most important ways to be able to do that. The first one has to do with how you view yourself, your ideas, your experiences, your expertise. I've been teaching on quite a few subjects for a long time. I teach about marketing and persuasion and copywriting and productivity and speaking and things like how to get deals and get paid for your time and your expertise. And, I wasn't the best expert in the world at teaching those things when I started. In fact, I might not even be the best expert in the world at teaching those things now, but I started, I got my stuff out there. And what I realized was the things that I was teaching fundamentally changed people's lives, because there was a way in which I was communicating it that got them into implementation. And so the first thing I'll tell you is this: the way that you view yourself and the way that you think of yourself. Most entrepreneurs that I know, especially as you're starting out, will tell me, oh yeah, but Ed, I need to do this first, or I need to take this certification, or I need this thing. You don't. You need to get yourself out there, because the truth is, just the way you teach it, just your story is going to attract a certain kind of person to you that wouldn't normally be attracted to someone else. I mean, there are people I know who follow, for example, Tony Robbins, and they see my stuff and they're like, yeah, it's fine, whatever. But there's other people who follow me, and when they see Tony Robbins and stuff, they're like, that's fine. I'm not attracted to that. I like, so everybody's got their own thing, their own style, and they have their own way that they like to be communicated with. Each person has a way that they want to learn. So the first one is the way you view yourself. Most entrepreneurs, the biggest limitation is what they're thinking about themselves. The second thing flows right along with that, by the way, is the way you communicate about yourself, or just the way you communicate in general. Most business owners I know spend most of the time talking about themselves, or their product, or their service, or their expertise, or the thing that they've done in the world. And while that's important, remember, most people didn't wake up this morning thinking about you. No matter how big you are, or no matter how big of a celebrity you want to be at some point, most people don't wake up in the morning thinking about those big celebrities. Most people wake up in the morning thinking about the same thing you probably thought about this morning, which was you. Most people think about themselves and their challenges and their problems. If somebody's got an income challenge, they wake up in the morning thinking about their income challenge. If somebody's got a health challenge, they wake up in the morning thinking about their health challenge. If somebody's got a family issue, they wake up in the morning thinking about their family issue. And your job as a marketer of yourself, really of your expertise and your time and your tools, is to interface with that conversation that's already happening in someone's head. That person didn't wake up thinking, I wonder how long that person's been in business. They don't really care how long you've been in business. They want to know the changes in their life, their relationships, their health, or their business that are going to occur because they're implementing your ideas or working with you. And so the first thing is how you view yourself. It's majorly important. Number two is how you communicate the product or the service that's in the market. The third one is the means in which you communicate that, right? So it comes down to three things: your market, your message, and your media. And I've been discussing these three, but really the third one is where you're marketing. So just remember that your market's out there. I mean, like if you work with moms, they're out there. If you work with teens, they're out there. If you work with people who want to get a better job, or you work with recruiters, or you work with people who want to be a better insurance salespeople, then they're out there. I mean, they're out there, but where they are is totally different, right? So take insurance people, for example. I'm just using this as an example. Let's say you have tools that help somebody who sells insurance be amazing at selling insurance. Man, you can market that anywhere. Like, for example, you can market it on Facebook. And Facebook would be a fine place to market there because insurance people are there. But you know what? Insurance people are more likely to be on LinkedIn, because when an insurance salesperson goes to LinkedIn, they're thinking about business when they go to LinkedIn. When they go to Facebook, they could be thinking about business, or they could be thinking about cat videos. And so if I'm going to market to those folks, I'm going to GIFT, get in front of them on the medium in which they are. Some people respond better to direct mail. Some people respond better to a video. Some people respond better to an Instagram post. Some people respond better to something that's put in front of them visually, like a video on YouTube. One of my best friends is someone named Marquetta Breslin. Marquetta and her husband, Ricky, have built this business helping women who create lace wigs. I mean, you want to talk about like a small niche. This is a small niche of people, but they've built this incredible high six-figure business working with this small little market, primarily because they know where that market is, they know how to communicate effectively to that market, and they know how to solve that market's problems and really help them. So those three things: number one, how you view yourself; number two, how you communicate to the market that you're in front of; number three, how to get in front of the market. Really, if you start there, you just can't go wrong.
You know what? I thank you so much, Ed, for sharing that information with us, because those are definitely some value bombs there when I think about it, because so many who are listening to this, have you ever taken time out to just focus on the consumer or to think about your client? One of the things that stood out to me when I was able to hear your presentation and also read your books and the content that you have, of learning how to, I know it's not proper to say this right now, but my grandmother would tell us this back in the day when we were growing up, of shut up not be quiet, but shut up. I know the proper way of saying it now is be quiet. You know, my youngest son said in school, you can't say shut up, daddy. They say you got to say be quiet, but just learning how to shut up. I see so many people, Ed, that they forfeit the contract, they forfeit the deal because they keep spewing out how wonderful they are instead of actually just listening to people. And I've practiced this stuff that you've shared, and it's been gold. I mean, I get on the phone and I just like, boom. Hey, the reason why I took this call today, I just want to hear a little bit more about you and see if it can be a benefit for you and your family. If I can help you, great. If not, the goal of this call is just to be able to at least get you pointed in the right direction. How does that sound? Sounds great. Okay, the ball is in your court. I shut up, put the phone on mute, put it down, and I just let them go. So could you speak to that? People out there?
By the way, your grandma was a wise woman. However she said it, I don't think I think you're right. I don't think we're supposed to say it anymore. Every once in a while, when I'm being very direct with, I have 4 kids. When I'm being very direct with them, I'll say shut it. But you know what? It's the same message. So it's a good business lesson, and I appreciate you for bringing that up. Not only, Darren, have you gotten to see me speak live, but you've got my online courses. So you'll remember. So there's 2 parts to I'll just say shut it. How about that? Just to be politically correct, I guess. But there's 2 parts of this. The first one is I alluded to this in this second point that I just made. Most business owners in the deal process, and by the way, we're all in a deal process. You know, I mean, it doesn't matter what you offer. It doesn't matter what kind of product or service. You could have a donut shop for all I care. We're all in the business of making deals. We're all in the business of getting someone to say yes. And ideally, the yes is good for them, and it's good for you, and it's good for the world. That's what a business does. So, so if you're in the process of getting someone to say yes, or selling something or offering something, then I just want to say I honor you. You are in a great place in the great world. But yeah, so I mean, the first step really is to understand the person isn't as interested in you as they are in your solution for them. And so a lot of times when I'm talking to somebody who's interested in doing a deal, I will ask questions. And in certain cases, I'll ask questions for quite a long time. One of my students, I have a course that teaches people how to get paid as advisors. One of my students I have a sheet of questions that you can just ask right in the course. You have the access to that course with the sheet. I have a sheet of questions. One of my clients went in to meet with a prospect who was looking to hire him to help him in the business. And he sat down with this business owner. And then the business owner said, well, let's get started talking about maybe what you can do in my company. Tell me more about you. And my client took the piece of paper and he said, let's get started by understanding a little bit more about your business, your business and your goals. And for an hour, all he did was ask the questions that were on this piece of paper. And when they got done after an hour, all my client did was ask questions. He didn't say anything about his solution. He didn't say anything about what he could provide. He just asked the questions. What are your biggest challenges? If I could wave a magic wand, what are 3 things that you'd like to change in your business? What are you doing right now to get leads? What would you like to be doing to get leads? How's that working? Just questions like that. At the end of asking questions, the guy, the business owner, my student was talking to, looks at this guy and goes, listen, Carl, I've worked with a lot of consultants, and I got to tell you, you're the best one I've ever worked with. You're hands down one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to, and I just want to tell you, I know we're going to be working together. All he did was ask questions, and the business owner's like, you're the smartest guy I ever met. Okay, so the business people want people want to know how you can help them, but they want to know what you can provide for them, less about you. Okay, so one of the most important things to do as a consultant, coach, author, speaker is to be able to ask a question and to listen to the answer. The second thing, and this is really important, when it comes time to talk about business, and when I say business, what I mean is a transaction. You know, people ask me, I do a lot of advising for high-end advising for businesses. The range at which I work these days is in like the $30,000 to $80,000 range. So it's pretty high. But people will ask me, they'll go, so Ed, what's your fee? And when I answer that question, I always answer that question. And at the end of the answer, I don't say anything. Here's why. My very first, I've had 440 now one-on-one coaching and consulting clients. The most recent ones are in the range that I just described to you. The early one, the first one, I was doing a speaking event. This is back in like 2008. this guy came up to me who I had met before. We knew each other. And he said, hey, my partner and I would like to bring you into our business to do a consulting day. How much will that be? And I had never done that before, Darren. So I said, look, Henry, normally when I do this, it's $5,500, but for you, I'll do it for $2,500. And he's like, I'll take it. And I'm like, I should have just said $5,500. Like, I could have gone down to $2,500, but why start negotiating with yourself right away? And most people who do deals, they're like, there's three people in the room. There's them, the person they're talking to, and then their alter ego that starts talking them down, right? So they're like, I'll do it for 10,000, no 8,000, no 7,000. So here's the rule. Whenever you say your fee, you say it with a straight face, and then you shut it, or you shut up, you shut it down. Okay, Henry, my typical consulting day is $5,500. How does that work for you? That's what I should have said, right? And I lost out on $3,000 in that transaction. By the way, Darren, that same two guys went out the next weekend after our consulting day, having never sold this product ever before. They sold $189,000 in a single weekend of the product that I helped them create in that coaching day. So yeah, I should have charged like the $5,500. So yeah, just shut it down for a little bit. Be in listen mode long enough for someone to say yes and for you to get the deal.
Awesome, man. I'm telling you, man, this is what it's all about. That's what I love about Ed Material, whatnot. And for those who are listening, definitely, I'm not just telling you something. I'm telling you that I am a believer. We invested in the product and services that Ed has as well, and it's been a game changer, man. I mean, I don't know anybody that's giving a value like Ed. That's why I definitely had to have him come on to the show, because the man is killing it. And I mean, he's just being totally honest and transparent, and he's genuine. What you see now is what you see behind the scenes. This is who he is. And so I love it because it's practical. There are tangible steps that people can go out immediately and get. You know, some people, if you go to a workshop or if you go to a conference or you read the materials, it's like, okay, now I need to get a tutor to help me understand exactly what this person was telling me to break it down. But it's not that with Ed. And Ed, I'm going to bring up a few things for people. I like to bring up the part of creating your own economy or creating symbiotic flows. And with that being said, for those, no matter where they are, whether it's speaking, whether it's courses, whether it's webinars, whether it's consulting, could you start speaking a little bit too, before we get out of here, of the importance of creating your own company? Because, you know, someone can bring you in. It might not be about you selling a $20 book. Of course, that's good. But you might have someone bring you in for an event and say that we need 300 books, and you write a contract for that. Or they might tell you, you know what, we don't have the funds to bring you in to speak, but we do have a line item because your books is considered educational materials. So now all of a sudden we can get, 1,000 books for everyone in this district or whatnot, everybody in part of this corporation or school district because of that. So could you speak to creating symbiotic flows for as your business?
Yeah, it's good. And also I just on your Facebook saying hello to some of the folks who are saying in comments. So, hey, Dawn, good to see you. Glad to be here. I just liked the page also and commented. So if you haven't already done that on Facebook, hit that like button. It just tells everybody that they should come over here to Market Leader Live and listen to Darren drop some knowledge when he does that on his shows. So be sure to do that. So in reference to what you were just talking about, so there's two quick thoughts that I would give you. The first one, back in 2007, when I was just starting out in business, I was listening to a guy named Dan Kennedy, and I heard Dan say something in passing that just like hit light bulb went off, and it became a point that I remembered throughout the rest of my business life. And here's what he said. He said in passing, you decide what part of what side of the cash register you choose to stand on. And I thought, man, think about that for a second. He said, you choose what side of the cash register you are standing on. And I thought about it for a second. So for example, right now, Darren and I are filming this right in the middle of, most of the states in the United States are locked down, or most people are self-quarantining because of COVID-19. So there are companies, for example, United Airlines, US Air, or United Airlines, American, I don't think US Air exists anymore, Delta, all those companies are losing money. While at the same time, Amazon just hired 75,000 new people. Think about that for a second. 75,000 people that just got hired by a company that's having its best year while some companies are having their worst year. Well, each of those companies, one is standing on one side of the cash register right now and one isn't. And so I realized, it's during times of difficulty or crisis or strain or stress, where as human beings, we make our biggest accelerated leaps. It's when things are hard that you get better faster. And there's two directions you can go. One direction in a time like this is to just lay out and Netflix and chill. The other way is to get better. And the way you should choose right now, by the way, is the second way, to get better. Because what happens, this is just a scientific fact. And by the way, I'm the guy that failed kindergarten, so I'm not a science genius. I'm just telling you that when pressure increases on something, velocity increases, right? So if you squeeze something together, the molecules inside of that thing that you're squeezing together start moving faster. Well, right now, our whole world is being squeezed. What that means is that there's more adjustments being made in the marketplace. That means there's more opportunity for you in the marketplace. Because remember, there's still transactions happening. Money's still flowing. We're still getting groceries, dude. They're just coming to our doorstep instead of us going down to Whole Foods, okay? So the things have changed, but because things have changed doesn't mean there's not opportunity. It means in certain cases that there's more opportunity, okay? So that's just one kind of look at it. The second one is what you were referring to, Darren, in terms of having multiple streams of income. So for example, I have an event. You were going to be here too. We're supposed to be doing this event in 3 days here in Dallas. I'm in San Diego. We're supposed to be doing this event in 3 days. Ultimate speaker, but we're not doing it, obviously. Right now, I'm looking at potentially just doing that whole event online. But the Ultimate Speaker event is an event where I teach people who communicate how to make more money and position themselves better and to build their brand using speaking. Now, I define speaking as any way that you use the spoken word to get customers or build your brand. So for example, what we're doing right now, I would classify as speaking, a teleseminar, a webinar, or an online event, or an offline event like you standing up on a stage, or you standing in front of 10 people, you standing in front of 1,000 people, you on a media interview. All of those I consider speaking. So I teach people how to use speaking to build their brand and to make more money. And the truth is, most speakers think about making money in one way: getting paid a fee to come in and speak. And I do that. I've gotten paid tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point going to speak for organizations or corporations, getting a keynote fee. But I've made literally over $10 million from speaking events where I didn't get paid a dime to go in and speak, where I went in because I had products or coaching or consulting or books or services coming afterwards. And so what I teach speakers to do is to use communication to get more clients, to sell more books, to sell more products, to sell online trainings, to sell one-on-one coaching or consulting. In other words, to find a way to get someone to say yes. Now, the great thing about it is when they say yes to you, they're going to get something they want too. Like, for example, this is the book that you mentioned before, 21 Day Miracle. When somebody invests in that book, I get a little bit of money from Amazon. Not much, because I make the price of my book's really low. But I still get something I want, which is I get a little bit of money. And I also get somebody that's reading my message, which is really what I like out of books in the first place. But they get something they want, right? They get a tool that will help them grow their life and their business. And like you said, Darren, you can't even find your book apparently because your wife took it from you because she reads it all the time. So I like that. It's like that kind of stuff makes my day. So I get what I want, which is I get paid, and I also get the joy of seeing someone's life change. But at the same time, somebody else gets what they want. And look, the best thing about the world economy, when it's working properly, is when you have an exchange of value, three things happen. It's good for the person offering the thing, that's you. It's good for the person receiving the thing, and it's also good for the world, okay? So it's good for you, it's good for me, and it's good for the economy. So that is why you need to get your story out there. That's why you need to get your message out there. That's why you need to get your experience into the world, your tools and trainings. Ask someone for the sale. The worst thing that happens is they don't take it, but you know what? They might say yes. And when they say yes, you get paid. You get the experience of helping someone change their life, and they get the experience of having their life change, which is awesome.
Man, that's amazing, Ed. And when you brought that up, like the event that I was at, that I saw you, present, you had some stuff available at the back of the room. Like literally, it was several people that came back to the back of the room or whatnot. And don't get me wrong, most of the people that was at that event, they have attended other events. That wasn't a crowd like it's their first time seeing somebody share something from the stage or anything like that. But when you add so much value, I haven't been disappointed yet in Ed's materials. I mean, I keep going through and I keep looking at like, oh my goodness, like we got all of this. We got all of this. I looked at my wife when she was at the table with me, and we were sitting out there thinking, she's like, I said, what do you think or whatnot? She's like, I think you need to get up right now. So I'm gonna start scribbling the check out, writing the check to get it all lined out or whatnot. But like I said, it's an exchange. And so don't limit yourself. That's the main thing that I want to share for those who are listening to this with Ed, is make sure that you benefit by getting around people who have already experienced. I can't tell you how much it has benefited our company. Even I didn't know COVID-19 was going to happen.
Yeah.
But some of the things that I've been able to implement from the book and also the materials I got with the courses I got of yours has allowed for me to stand out as a market leader for my company. And it truly helped us during this time, Ed. So I just want to say kudos and thank you to you, man, for having that servant leadership and pouring into people, because it saved me years, because I got the contracts. I got all the information.
Yeah.
I know how to close the deal. So I'm speaking from a standpoint of not somebody who just showed up, but somebody with years of experience. So I want to share that with people who are listening, to invest in themselves as well. And I think that would be a perfect segue for the sake of time. Ed, if you don't mind, share with the people, how can they connect with you off air or whatnot, for as website, courses, books, anything that you have that's available for the people?
Cool. Yeah, I'll give you 2 websites real quick. And I think, let's see, maybe I could just put them right into Facebook too. By the way, I want to say a special shout to, now I'm assuming Stephanie. Yeah. So it's Stephanie Palmer, right? In chat. That's your wife, right? Yeah. So
yeah, the one who stole my book, Ed. So
she's the one who stole the book. So she said something really nice in chat. I just want to say that thank you. She said, I recommend his book, number 1 of my books. I'm ordering more books this week. So thank you. That means, I mean it. It means so much to me. Like I said, I'm so thankful for the books that sold, and all the revenue is great, but to see the life change in people's lives, man, I've had people who quit their day job. I had people who build businesses. I had this guy today post on Instagram. Man, the post must have been 17 paragraphs long, and he was just talking about a decision that he made 4 or 5 years ago and how that decision changed. And that's just an honor. It really is. Darren, I just want to thank you for what you said. It really is. I have a passion for helping business owners just like you. Look, if you've been watching this show since the beginning, you'll know this. If this is the first episode that you watched, Darren is one of those guys. He's like my kind of guy, ready, fire, aim, man. He's just one of those go-getters that goes and implements. And that's why I want to say, both to you and to your wife, that thank you for the comments you made about the courses that I created. And I'm just honored that you said that. The truth is, you get the credit. And here's why. Because you took them and implemented. And I do not have a 100% success rate of people implementing. I wish I had 100%. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's 50 or 70% of the people actually take it and put it into action. But I can tell you that the things that I create, the books, the courses, the online trainings, they work, man. When you implement them, they work. They don't work if you don't. Like if you let them hold the door open or whatever, or stick them on the shelf, it doesn't happen. So congratulations to both you and to Stephanie for taking action and implementing. The results are on the way. No question about that. And it's great to see what you've been able to do at the show. So I'm going to give you 2 websites. The first one is the easiest website you'll remember, which is just edrush.com. When you go to edrush.com, that's my home plate right there. About a third of the way down, just above the fold, there's a little box where you can put your name and email in. I give a weekly update called the Weekly Flight Briefing. This is what I'm reading, what I'm studying, the things that I'm working on. It comes in video podcast and also in written format. You want to get that weekly email. It's just full of resources and content. I just finished the last one. I've got podcasts that I recommend, books that I recommend, and a little bit of a discussion of the things that I'm working on. So you definitely want to get that. And that's really, I think, step number 1. It's just edrush.com. Just put your name and email in. I promise you I will respect that. I only send good stuff out via email. Okay, the second thing, the website you mentioned before, which is Ed Rush Book. It's just Ed Rush Book, my name plus book, second easiest website you'll ever remember. When you get there, you'll get a quick link to the most discounted version of this book. Like I said, Kindle version is 99 cents, paperback's like $8. So cheaper than 2 cups of coffee or whatever. But when you get there, I also created a membership site, Darren, for your folks. They get it totally for free, okay? So when you get there, there's a membership site with a series of video trainings on how to get stuff done fast and how to build a business around your life and how to create a life around the principle that I teach called 21-day sprints. And you'll see you can accomplish amazing things in a short period of time with super fast sprints. So those 2 resources I'd highly recommend. That's really the place to start.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Ed. I really appreciate you taking time out your busy schedule to be able to bless our audience, man. Just thank you for all that you do. We're praying and hoping that you and your family are safe and all right.
Yes, sir.
Look forward to connecting you when this COVID-19 thing is over. We'll be able to connect with you in person. We will have more information in the show notes, how you can connect with Ed and whatnot. But anytime, any last words, Ed, to the people before we get out?
Yeah, just saying hello to Joe in chat and Susan. Thank you for joining us on the show. Look, man, here's the thing. I'm looking forward to the day that your show, Darren, Market Leader Show, has about 1,000 people watching it live and about 100,000 people watching it on replay every single time. So keep at it. Keep delivering great content. I know you care about the people that you're delivering content to. So hey, dude, it's an honor just to be on the show. It was an honor to meet you and get to know you better just 2 months ago and to be able to work with you and your wife. But really, it's just I consider it a great blessing to have been on here. So thank you for asking. And just for those of you watching right now, take it and implement it, man. Just take it and implement it 1 step at a time. Start getting some people to say yes. And then after that, we're going to go off and change the world, man. I'm telling you. Awesome. Go change the world.
Awesome. Thank you again, Ed. Y'all have a blessed one. Remember, if you won't change, be the change. Until next time, be blessed and be great. Ed.